this meeting of the Montgomery City Council to order. It is Tuesday, August 23rd, 2022. It's exactly 6 p.m. and we do have a quorum with all City Council members present this evening. We ask that you silence any cell phones to avoid disruptions in our meeting, please. And we thank you for tuning in from the outside as well and being here in person. And so at this time, I ask Brother TJ to lead us in invocation with a pledge of allegiance to our flags.
Lord, we come this afternoon with humble hearts and bowed heads. We come, Lord, thanking you for touching us this morning and giving us a brand new day. Lord, we come asking you to guide us and lead us as a council. Watch over the city administrators as they go and prepare and lead us in the direction that we should be going. Lord, we thank you. We thank you for all those who want to come and who cannot. Thank you for standing around the sick beds, Lord, and guide them and lift them up. Put them in your hands, Lord, as we go forward. We thank you for all that you do, all that you've done, and all that you continue to do. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Salute to the American flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And to the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, to Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
In the Citizens Forum, we have one signed up to speak, Mr. Steve Hottie. I promised I would roll my R. Did I roll it enough for you? Yes, if you would go to the podium and state your name and address. And once you do, you'll have 3 minutes to speak. If you need a little more, I might give it to you.
Okay, we try to go quickly. Okay, again, good evening. I'm Steve Harry. I'm a French winemaker and I'm owner for H Wine in downtown Montgomery. We got a wine tasting room. And this is Gail. Why we are here tonight? Because you know the Chamber of Commerce in Montgomery don't propose a wine fest this year. And this year with a few friends, we just set up a new organization, and on this area, the name for the organization is non-profit organization. It's a CAPA. What is mean CAPA? C, it's for Conroe, A, area, A, alcohol, P, producer, and association. We have a few people, just only 9 right now, and we're working with the city of Conroe, and we're looking for another sponsorship. And why we are here tonight? Because Gail and Mike contacted me, it was a few months ago, to just propose if we want to do a wine fest again this year, because Chamber of Commerce don't do it, and we would like to use our premises, because Gail, go ahead, introduce yourself.
At the Montgomery Grove, it's off Eva, just down the street here. Right now it's a food truck. We are working on the construction to get the indoor building. We're hoping that by the date that they want to do their, it'll be a beverage festival, not just wine this year. We'll have the food truck and the restaurants and outdoor facility with tents to set up.
Exactly, because what I said, it's a beverage, what Gail said, because we have a main spirit in Conroe for Barclays Distillery. We have beer and wine for different winemakers. And yes, tonight we are here because, again, we would like to do a promotion for Montgomery, because we use the name Montgomery for the event. It's not on the city limit, because it's private premises for our premises. And what we need to do right now is just to do introduction for this event, because I would like the city of Montgomery knows what we do. And again, we need to arrange a police officer, because we're waiting a maximum, I think so, 350 or 400 people during the day. And we need to have your help. And in case, if you want to be a sponsor for this event, thank you so much. So, voilà. It's clear? Any question?
Yeah. So this is different festival, all beverages, not just wine fest.
Exactly. And we decided the date, it should be in November, on 12th November on Saturday, starting at 11 until 7 p.m. And just, again, to do a promotion for the producer of alcohol in Montgomery County.
Okay.
So I just want one question. You just want to, you're asking permission to use the name? Is that correct?
Yes, exactly, because Montgomery should be on it, you know. Imagine, Gail, it's here. And if I made promotion, if I use the name Montgomery without your authorization, I don't want to be in trouble, you know. Just only everything is clear, you know, we're starting to do something.
Sure.
And with you or without you, but it's important to me to introduce this element.
Okay, thank you. We'll have our management get in touch with you on that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Steve,
Who would that be?
what
Sorry.
was the date?
November the 12th.
Okay.
What I will do is connect you with our code enforcement officer.
November.
For us with the event.
Yes, I got I fill up everything I can get you. Everything is okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, on the consent agenda for tonight, item number 1, approval of the minutes of the regular city council meeting of August 9, 2022. Approval of the minutes of budget workshop meeting August 10, 2022. Item 2, consideration of possible action regarding an escrow agreement between the city of Montgomery, Texas, of Redbird Metal Development LLC, development number 2206. What is the council's pleasure?
Mayor, on the minutes for August 9th, I have to amend because if you see I had Mayor Pro Tem Wilkerson is absent, but he actually was present.
Okay.
And it had been considered Mrs. Easley's name, so she's back on. I'm present.
All right, so with those amendments,
I've amended those, so I have the original here, the amended version here for your signature.
okay. Do we need to take that separate then?
When you make a motion, you just need to say with the corrections as indicated.
Okay.
Make a motion to accept the consent agenda with the corrections that were stated in the minutes.
Second it.
We have a motion and a second. Motion by TJ, second by Cheryl. This motion is debatable, amendable, and requires majority vote. All in favor of approving consent agenda item number 1 and 2 with the proposed amendments, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And there are none opposed, and the consent agenda passes with those mentioned amendments. Item number 3, consideration and acceptance of the 2022 no new revenue tax rate and voter approval tax rate.
Mayor and council, you have the information in your packet, and this can be very updated. Is our county tax assessor is here to speak to those items.
Okay?
Good afternoon. Thank y'all for having me. And with me, I have my Chief Deputy, Kim Rowe. So I have passed out to you, well, let's start with the first item. Consider and accept the 2022 no new revenue tax rate and voter approval tax rate. Those are calculated tax rates. And your no new revenue rate for 2022 is 0.3171 per $100. Your voter approval rate is 0.5674 per $100. And there's really, you just accept those. There's nothing that we can do to change those. Those are calculated rates.
Okay. We need a motion to accept no new revenue tax rate and voter approval tax rate.
I make a motion to accept the no new revenue tax rate and the voter approval tax rate.
We have a motion. We have a motion by Casey, second by TJ. This motion is debatable, amendable, and requires majority vote. All in favor of passing the motion to accept the 2022-23 no new revenue, I wish it was never new, but anyway, revenue tax rate and voter approval tax rate, say aye.
Aye.
And anyone opposed, say nay. And there are none opposed, and the motion carries. Thank you. Item number 4, discussion of the tax rate needed to fund the proposed fiscal year 22-23 budget for maintenance and operations and debt service.
What you have before you is a comparison of your information from last year, and I provided some revenue estimates if you were to adopt the no new revenue rate, if you were to keep your current 2021 tax rate of 40 cents, or the voter approval rate and the increase in the dollar amount in that percentage increase. If you look in the middle of the page, the 2022 average taxable value, because you do offer the maximum 20% homestead exemption, is $231,494. You have new improvement value of $13,392,430. That's new improvements from last year. That was not on the roll this time last year. And I'm happy to answer any questions. Your values are up 26.65% over this time last year.
Any questions?
No.
Okay, and then if there's no further discussion, then need a motion.
No, this
There
is
is no
just.
motion.
There's no action?
Just explanation.
Just explanation. All right? So we'll move on to item number 5. Here we go. It always gets confusing here. Consideration of and roll call vote on the proposed tax rate for 2022.
Mayor and Council, again, as we've talked about in our budget workshop, staff has prepared the budget and is recommending to keep the same tax rate that we had last year, which is 0.40 or 40 cents per $100 of valuation. You see some examples there that are put down in the discussion that a $100,000 home would be levied $400 in city taxes. Just for simplicity's sake, I'm not taking into account those things like the 20% homestead exemption, the disability exemption, or the over 65 exemption. But these are here just for reference. Again, the budget has been prepared using the same tax rate that we had last year.
Any further
I'll
questions?
just add, before you get into any discussion, if there's any discussion, again, this is a roll call vote, so a normal motion and second. It's just when we get to the vote, we'll just go down the dais and ask for individual vote.
Okay. Council ready for a motion?
Make a motion to have roll call.
Okay, do we need to read that
Do
as
we have
it
to
is?
read it as is?
Yep,
Okay,
recommendation.
okay. I make a motion to approve the proposed tax rate of 0.4000 for $100 with 0.2950 for M&O and 0.1050 for INS.
We have a motion by TJ.
I'll second.
I'll take Carol's as a second. This motion's debatable, amendable, requires majority vote. And we will now take a roll call vote. Position 1, Carol Langley, what do you say?
Yes.
Position 2, Casey Olson, what do you say?
Yes.
Position 3, TJ Werpson, what do you say?
Yes.
Position 4, Sheriff Fox, what do you say?
Yes.
Position 5, Pat Easley, what do you say?
Yes.
We have 5 yeses. None are in objection. And so the motion to approve the tax rates as read is passed. Item number 6,
Yes.
consideration and possible action on calling a public hearing on the proposed 2022 tax rate.
Mayor and Council, as the information that we provided you with from the tax assessor's office, again, if we adopt a proposed or approve a proposed tax rate that's above the new revenue rate. We are required to hold a public hearing on that. And our schedule in our budget calendar would place that public hearing on September the 6th, which is the first Tuesday of September. And have to answer any questions that you have on it. Otherwise, entertain a motion to call the public hearing.
I'll make the motion to hold the public hearing on the proposed 2022 tax rate for September the 6th at 6:00 p.m.
We have a motion. And a second is Ms. Easley, correct? Is that who I heard? Second by Pat. This motion is debatable, amendable, requires a majority vote. All in favor of establishing a public hearing for the proposed 2022 tax rate for September 6, 2022 at 6 p.m. say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say no. And the motion carries. We will have a public hearing at September 6, 2022 at 6 p.m.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Item number 7, presentation of Montgomery County Emergency Communication District's proposed fiscal year 2023 budget by Executive Director Chip Van Steenberg.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council. I apologize for not being able to join y'all last week. We have the budget that is before you. Let me just back up a little bit and tell you a little bit about the Montgomery County Emergency Communication District. Sometimes we're known as Montgomery County 911. We're a special district created by the voters of Montgomery County back in the late 1980s to be the regional 911 authority when it comes to those 911 calls. 911 is a broad term. It means a lot of things to a lot of people, but for our purposes, we're talking about the phone call. Once your carrier delivers that 911 phone call, everything that happens to it, to the point where it gets answered, and whatever is needed, services are needed during the call. For example, if it needs to be transferred or updated location, that's our responsibility for that phone call. We do not answer phone calls. We do not send out emergency response, and we're not responsible for emergency response. Instead, we coordinate, we partner with 5 agencies here in Montgomery County that run 911 call centers, emergency call centers. We provide them equipment, we provide them a network that they work on. In the cases of the primary 911 centers, we provide support for their staff to answer their phone calls. Some of the positions that are used. So who are those 5 agencies? Well, the largest one is Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, the Conroe Police Department. Those 2 are what we call primary 911 call centers, which means those are where the calls are delivered first. In Montgomery County, if you dial 911, if you're outside the city of Conroe, it's going to go to the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office. If you're inside the city of Conroe, it's going to go to Conroe Police Department. And those agencies will process your call, service that call, as long as it's law enforcement related. If it is fire or emergency medical, that call is going to get transferred to what we call secondary call center. If you need emergency medical services, your call is going to get transferred to the Montgomery County Hospital District at their 911 call center, and they will dispatch ambulance throughout the county. If it's fire related, it's going to get transferred to the Woodlands Fire Department, who runs a call center. And they dispatch for all the fire departments in Montgomery County with the exception of Conroe. And then the 5th call center that we support is the Conroe ISD. That's new this year. We just added them into our system. They run a 24/7 dispatch operation. And so any calls related to Conroe ISD facilities will get transferred to their call center. So we support those call centers. We work closely with them. We also are responsible for all the mapping, all the addressing of the county, and doing some public education with the citizens, working with Montgomery County Emergency Operations and Management so that we can be prepared for emergencies. We provide the notification system, so if you ever get sometimes it's called a reverse 911 call or an emergency notification that's locally based, we provide the system and the service that does that. We provide translation service to the 911 dispatchers so that almost virtually any language that a call is made in, the dispatcher has instant access to a translator to provide services. And also we provide a suite of services with a partner company called Rave Alert that provides what's called Smart 911 and smart facilities. So if you're an individual, you can create a safety profile by going to smart911.com. And if you call 911, any information that you want responders to see, if you've got an emergency or somebody in your home that's got an allergy, or perhaps some special needs that are in a home, special instructions to access property. If you've got pets, you can put all that information in there so that first responders can know that as they're on their way. Smart911.com, we provide that service to you. We have a budget for this coming year. It's actually quite a bit higher than previous years, and that's because we've got two large projects going on. One of those is reflected in this budget, and that is the conversion of what we call Next Generation 911. The state of Texas has made available $150 million to 911 entities across the state to upgrade our 911 system from the original. We're still working on the original copper wire system that the regulated telephone companies put in place back in the 1970s, where we are in the process of upgrading to a digital IP-based system. And so this budget reflects, I think, sorry, my notes here, $1.4 million or so coming into, $1.8 million of revenue from the state of Texas that we'll be using in this upcoming year to help with that conversion. The other big project that we have going on is we have purchased some property, actually close to here, out by the campground in front of the bunker, that will become the future 911 facility in Montgomery County, a data center, a place where we can actually handle some of that 911 traffic locally instead of relying on other agencies to do that for us. So we're in the process of platting that property and planning for its future use. Breaking ground is still going to be 2 to 3 years away. Our agency, we've got an agency of 10, GIS, technical support mostly, but I'll be happy to answer any questions about our budget or operations, and I appreciate this time.
Where are you building?
Where are we building? It will be on our property is not directly on 105. Dr. John Buck's property fronts 105. We're just on the west side of Tractor Supply, and we're up the hill from there in the back, very, very short distance from the bunker.
Very good.
Any other questions? Thank you for all you do. Appreciate your information.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Item number 8, presentation by Shelley Wall and Lisa Burgett of Empower Financial Group on adding additional voluntary supplemental health coverage for employees to the existing benefits package.
Thank you. Hi, good evening, Mayor Sanford and City Council members. I'm Shelley Wally. This is my colleague Lisa Burgett. We're with Empower Financial Group, and we're here to tell you about a program that the City of Montgomery has already qualified for. We recently implemented this at the Galveston County Food Bank, but since I live here, I wanted to get the City of Montgomery taken care of too. So we met with Mayor Sanford already, and he said he thought that the program was a no-brainer, so we know that he likes it. And I'm sure you've all probably heard of supplemental benefits before, so I'll try to keep it as short as I when my son was 5 years old, was diagnosed with cancer, I did not know what supplemental benefits were, and that created a financial hardship for us. So I wanted to tell everybody about these benefits, so I joined our group here and wanted to share that with you guys. But when something like that's catastrophic happens in life, the more stressful it is because of what you're going through already, but something like that happens, your income usually stays the same or goes down, and your expenses go way up, I can tell you that. So anyway, we offer several policies, actually. We have a cancer lump sum policy that pays anywhere from $5,000 to $75,000. We have a cancer treatment policy that actually pays you per day. And then we have, it pays for things like chemo, radiation, surgeries, etc. We have a heart and stroke policy, again, $5,000 to $75,000. Accident policy, hospitalization, and ICU as well. So when we were here last week, we met with Nikki and Anthony to show them how the program worked, and Nikki was nice enough to let us use her information for an example. So if you look in your folders, on the first page on your right-hand side is Nikki's little sheet there, if you'll look at that. So on hers, just as what she would get in her allotment, so her specified disease amount, which covers things like kidney failure, vision loss, hearing, Alzheimer's, dementia, lupus, those type of things, is $15,000 that she would receive. Her cancer lump sum would be a $40,000 policy that she would receive. Cancer treatment series would pay her $700 per day while in the hospital. A lump sum heart attack and stroke policy would be $16,000. She would have an accident policy at the enhanced level, which is the highest level that we offer. A hospital policy would pay her $500 per day, and an ICU $1,000 per day. And if you'll look at the number at the bottom, the total monthly premium is $156.79. And then if you'll notice in the next column, it'll say no reduction in take-home pay. So it sounds too good to be true, but it's not, and I'll let Lisa tell you the rest of that, how magic happens.
Thank you, Shelley. So the Attentive Program is a preventative care management program that helps qualified businesses capture tax savings. And as Shelley said, the city of Montgomery has actually already qualified for this program. When businesses qualify for the program, employees can qualify for what I like to call healthcare spending dollar or allotments, which she alluded to, that we use to secure the supplemental benefits that she just explained. On average, the employer will see a payroll tax savings of approximately $450 per person, and the employee will experience a gain in additional benefits averaging about $150 a month. So if you would open your folder, or if you already have it open, if you will pull up the proposal, that's actual tax savings for the city of Montgomery. I'd like to direct you to the center of the top of this page where it shows the city's total tax savings. So there's a number there, I don't know if you've got it open in front of you yet. So that total tax savings for the city of Montgomery is $15,696.96. So this estimate is not based on the full year, since we just did the proposal, so it's about a 6-month mark. So the actual annual savings will be closer to $31,000, $393.92 annually. The second part of this I want to direct your attention to is all the way to the right, the top, is where it says average post-tax allotment. This is for the employees. And so for the 30 people listed on this proposal, it's an average of about $127 in tax allotment dollars that each of them will receive. And so when I did my calculations, the total benefits that the city will be able to offer the employee will be to the tune of a little over $46,000 in benefits that are paid for through the tax allotment that the city has qualified for. So these benefits, one of the biggest questions we get when we're in front of businesses or our nonprofits is, this seems too good to be true, like Shelley had already said, and it isn't a free program. However, the fees that Attentive gets paid, and then Cigna benefits aren't free either, but so there will be fees assessed to that, but the fees are paid for through, and if you look down to where it says the employee side, their monthly gross tax savings, you'll see numbers there. You'll see the fees next to that for the employee, and then the employer also has an annual gross tax savings line as well with their monthly fee. All of the fees are paid from the gross tax savings. And when we present the program that we're going to present to the employees, we talk from the net tax allotments. So all fees are paid for through the tax program. And then finally, there are 3 reasons why we believe you should say yes to this program. The city of Montgomery is going to be receiving an annual tax savings of $31,393.92, which is a pretty amazing tax savings. The number 2 reason why to say yes to this is that the city will be able to provide nearly $46,000 in paid-for benefits to the employees at no reduction in their take-home pay. And then finally, in our experience, when people have supplemental benefits in place, the kind that pay you cash when critical illness or injury occur, we believe it gives them their own lifeline to protect their families and their finances when the bad stuff happens. Thank you.
Thank
If you
you.
have any questions, we will do our best to make sure that you
It's a
can.
big blessing to the city and employees, I think.
I'm sorry?
Big blessing to the city.
It is a huge blessing, and, you know, like she mentioned, Galveston County Food Bank, they went live with this. I actually work with a lot of nonprofits personally to get this program implemented.
Any other questions?
Funding or something? Is qualified for?
Do you have any questions?
So is the city is paying for this upfront?
So that's a great question, because the fee, it's sort of, it's not a complicated process, but to keep it simple, so the company that we work with, Attentive, the tax savings is going to drop into, and this is where we talked with Anthony, so there's going to be an allotment dollar that drops into, I'm assuming like your payroll account, where you, because I know you pay for their major medical benefits, so there's like a kitty sitting there. So those allotments dollars drop in the month, front of the month, and then when you receive the bill from Attentive at the end of the month, those dollars will be sitting there waiting for you to pay Attentive. And it works the same way with when you pay the list bill for Cigna for the benefits, that amount of money is sitting in that account waiting to pay these bills. So at the end of the month, it will be a zero. Did that answer your question?
And the employees are not paying?
They are not.
anything out of
There's
pocket?
no reduction in take-home pay. In fact, her allotment there's a very nice allotment of $157 and change. We worked to make sure that there's the comprehensive coverage that we can give with everything we offer will be to spend up to that amount, but not go over. So there will not be any reduction in any employee's take-home pay unless they wanted to elect to add more benefits than the allotment that we put together. It's an amazing program, and
So-
boards have seen this, and it's really a win-win situation.
Where is this money coming from that's going to be dropped into this
So it's-
payroll account?
So that's a great question as well. So the Affordable Care Act,
Yes.
there's tax laws that are built into that where Attentive has created a program from one of the tax laws that's in the Affordable Care Act on page 31,363. So
And
the
this-
program is developed around that tax savings law.
And this is for basically 1 year? And then
Every
you
year we
renew it?
reassess this, but yes,
So the money is there
the money will be there.
to put in the city of Montgomery's payroll account for 1 year for all the employees?
Yes, and it will continue, but we always do an assessment to make sure, because a lot of times people may leave, and we need, and Attentive, and we'll be in communication with them to make sure that this stays completely compliant. And the reason why you're paying the fees for Attentive is so that they're in communication with Anthony, who's going to be taking care of the payroll, to make sure if there's any new employees that you add in, that we get them put in properly. If someone is let go, that we remove them from that.
So this city is out zero money?
Zero.
For 1 year?
As long as this program is in place, you will never have to pay for these benefits.
When the
And you will
bill
capture
comes
tax
in,
savings.
when the bill comes in, the money has been there.
It drops into that whatever that payroll account is, yes.
Will it roll over every year
Yes, it will continue to roll.
and bill?
And it could, because the allotment amounts can change based on how someone is paid, how much they earn annually, if they're married, single, if they file, for children. So that's how the allotments are created in the beginning, based on those pieces of information from a census that we've received from you all already.
Sounds fun.
And if I can make one comment, so we have met with Nikki and Anthony so that they can understand the implementation of this, because it's going to fall on them to make sure that this is done properly. And so there will be a welcome call that explains all of this, and our company will be working very closely to make sure that all the line items are put in, and then we run several mock payrolls to make sure that this is fluid when the go-live date is. And I'm believing we're going to try to go for 10-1 go-live date.
So how many of the employees need to be taking your insurance? you have a, you've got to have a limit
There's a base.
of all of these here,
5 people.
say, okay.
How many?
Just 5.
Just 5
And we've got
employees.
30 people that have qualified for the program,
Right.
based on the census numbers that we've received from.
From an HR standpoint, I can tell you that this type of service is invaluable. I've actually had personal experience of using these type of services. And in your darkest hour, when you don't know how you're going to pay the light bill and the chemo, these kind of programs are so super beneficial to employees.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And where are you actually out of without me having to look through all these papers? Where are you actually out of? Where's your office?
Our office is in Deer Park, but I'm from Montgomery, so I was here, yes, ma'am.
And this would cover each one of our city employees?
That qualify. So the qualifying factors are.
Talk about qualifications.
So they have to be W-2 employees that have a major medical insurance in place, whether it's through the city or a spousal or a parental plan. It has to be a non-subsidized insurance. And then the individuals have to make a minimum of $17,000 annually. I know in the original census that was sent, there were some docents that were on there that fell under qualification because they made less than $17,000 a year because there's just not enough taxes to pull from to create a tax savings.
But we have 30 qualified.
We have 35 on the list now, but we have 30, hard 30 right now. And we can add people. I don't know if there's other entities that would fall under the city of Montgomery umbrella, but that we could add as well. But we want to start here.
Well, we would certainly, a year from now, have data, if for some reason it was not,
You can elect
to not continue, right?
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Okay.
So, with the discussion, Nikki, it says currently we carry Aflac.
Right, currently we have Aflac, and I have reached out to that representative, because obviously we're getting close to enrollment time, and I have not received a response.
Okay.
So I was
Trying to figure out when cancellation time for.
as an employee, I can't.
Right.
May I comment to that?
Yes.
So these benefits, so ancillary benefits like these, you can actually have multiple policies.
Sure.
So we're not here to change anything you have currently in place. This is something that runs nicely in tandem with what you currently have. And if you elect to, someone didn't want to have the Aflac benefits, well, then that's just more money they get to put back into their paycheck.
Absolutely.
But that's a personal decision. We're not here to make any changes on what you currently have in place.
If they can't take that off, they want to.
I mean, that's their decision.
So there's no cost to the city of Montgomery. Zero.
There is going to be no cost to the city of Montgomery
No
or the
little
employees.
fee over here for paperwork. No little fee for,
I'm not careful.
So as I stated, the fees that will be incurred will be a fee that Attentive is paid to keep this compliant. And then the insurance benefits, you will receive a physical list bill that will be paid. But it's those things, those two bills are paid from the allotment that's dropped in every single month to make this be a zero at the end of the month.
So I'm
And it'll
like,
make more sense once you get through the first month, you'll see how it works.
I'm like the councilman, careful. Each month, a percentage of that money gonna come out out of the premium for you?
Well, for
To manage it, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, there will be an allotment that drops in for the insurance bill that goes out, and then there's an allotment of dollars that pays for Attentive as well, to be able to run this program and to keep it compliant. But it's all paid for through allotment of dollars.
So it's free for us.
It will be what I call a paid-for benefit.
they always say
I try
nothing
to
is
not
free.
use the word free, because that can be confusing. Because we really just want to be very transparent with you all. We're not here to pull the wool over anybody else.
So it come down out of Obamacare, affordable
Yes, sir.
care.
Affordable
Oh,
care.
all right.
Exactly.
Well, I'm with you.
You got it.
You can probably tell we've been laboring in this budget thing for several weeks. And there's a lot of different things to consider, and our heads are filled with numbers.
All right.
Any other questions?
I do have one other question. Do you have any other clients that we could contact?
Well, I work personally with Galveston County Food Bank, which is not, you've heard of them, I'm sure. You could contact them. I work with another nonprofit called the Sanctuary Foster Care Services, and they've been my client since February with the program. So she'd probably be a great person to talk to because she is their finance person, and she understands this program and how it works with their agency.
And is Anthony here? Anthony, would you comment on this, please?
Yes. How do you get this money in your payroll account?
So this will be set up with him, with Corey Brooks is our representative from Attentive, and we've already created communication with these two. So she will communicate with the welcome call. Any question he has, she will 100% be able to answer. How funds are dropped in. I know there's payroll line items that, like, I don't do his job, so that's above my pay grade. But
How much work is it
she'll
going to
make
put
sure
on
it's
you?
going to be absolutely 100% clear.
Numbers. I just need to understand the numbers a little bit.
Right.
That's my thing.
That's what I'm concerned about, is the complex tax issue that you're talking about. And I want to make sure that Anthony understands
He will. So we have
how
scheduled
that
a call
works
tomorrow.
before.
I'm not against it, I just want to make sure.
Anthony, are you familiar with this, the program?
I'm not.
Okay.
I mean, it's a tax program, so I don't know if you're, because I don't do taxes themselves.
And
I'm not saying he doesn't.
you wanted to set this up by what date again?
We were hoping to have a go-live date of October 1st.
And it takes you how long?
So we would need to have, because we already have the census and the proposal. That's usually the biggest hurdle that we have to getting started, since we already have that. We just need the yes from you all to go ahead, and we can start enrollment the very next day. September 15th is our cutoff date to be able to have everything submitted. So that gives us about where are we at today? About 20 something.
Anthony, do you have questions already wrote down that you're going to ask tomorrow?
Oh, yes, I've already asked plenty of them.
Yeah, he's asked us plenty, but
And there's more, so yes.
So we have a call set in the morning with our attentive representative as well, so.
and I'm confident that they will be able to answer every single question that people have. 100%.
Okay. Well,
All right. Then we're ready to make a motion.
I make a motion to approve adding the additional voluntary supplementary health coverage to the city benefit package.
Motion by TJ, do I have a second?
Motion.
Actually, I would, before voting yes on this tonight, I would really want to hear from Anthony first, maybe in a private session with us, to make sure that he understands this. I feel a little bum rush actually tonight with a 5-minute presentation on something that the man in charge doesn't truly understand.
Byron, can we table this?
We can just let it die, and in effect would be tabled until,
You got to do
Well-
something.
we would have to table it until, what, the 13th?
So did his motion, what is his motion doing on the table? Is
It does
No.
not even,
So it died like a second.
Right.
I would like to make a motion to postpone item number 8 until the next city council meeting, which would be September the 13th, due to hearing from Anthony's conversation.
okay, we have a motion now
Is that good
to
enough?
postpone until September 13th till we get greater clarity with our staff. And we had a second, I believe, from Cheryl.
Yes.
Motion's debatable, amendable, requires a majority vote. All in favor of approving the motion as stated, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say no. And the motion carries. We will postpone this until the meeting on September 13th to get greater clarity for our staff. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
All right. Item number 9, consideration and possible action on an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Montgomery accepting and approving an annual update to the service and assessment plan and assessment roll for City of Montgomery Public Improvement District Number 1, providing for payment of the annual installment of the assessments in accordance with Chapter 372, Texas Local Government Code as amended, and providing for severability and providing an effective date.
Here in council, you've got the information in your packet, and if you guys are familiar with Summit Business Park up on the north side of town, this is the area that we're talking about. Again, a public improvement district, or it is a type of a special district like a mud district, or with one distinct difference is that a PID, or a public improvement district, only levies assessments. They do not levy a tax. And with that assessment, there's an end date on it. So this one was formed in 2015 in the city. The first parcels, in the parlance that they use, the first parcels that were triggered were in 2017, which means that this agreement or this improvement district goes away in 2032. The assessments are collected by the county tax assessor at the same time that taxes are collected or paid. The way that what a public improvement district is used for is to reimburse the developer for the cost of certain amounts of eligible infrastructure. In this case, it's just under $3 million. So every year, that money is levied on the parcels. Now, right now, the practical effect of this PID is the Ogerchocks, if you know my Ogerchock, the Ogerchocks pay the assessments every year, and they receive their money back in March of every year. Now, ideally, obviously, is you would sell the property so someone else is paying the assessments, and then they're the ones to collect it. But this, again, the way that they assess it is by the square foot. There's a certain dollar amount that's assessed, per square foot of every parcel. And right now, that number's averaging just, in years past, it's been just under $40,000 a year worth of assessments. This year, with the addition of one more parcel, it's just over $40,000, $41,000 and change. Again, I guess another aspect of the PID is every year the city receives and approves the assessment plan. That just talks about these are the parcels that are paying the assessment. This is the amount that's been paid and collected by the tax assessor. That money will come back to the city at the same time that we receive our ad valorem taxes. And in March of every year, the developer submits a request for payment, and we pay him the monies that we've collected, minus right now about $500 in admin costs to do the things that we're doing with it. Be happy to answer any questions. That's kind of a very high-level overview of it, but again, this is not something that there's really, candidly, there's not much of an option on. This is the agreement that's in place. We're just asked to verify, every year that we are collecting the money and we are getting it back in terms of the reimbursement agreement with the developer. The attorneys are way more familiar with the PID than I am, and I know that Caleb here can answer any questions that you have more broadly with PIDs. We'd be glad to answer anything specific to this one.
So it's basically an update, changing the years.
Well, we update it every year.
Okay.
So every year we're going to look at the amount of property that was assessed this fee. And every year we're going to approve. So what we do is we approve the paying of it after we receive the tax money from the tax office. We don't give it out again as I put in the information. This money does not come out of ad valorem tax in any shape or form. Their tax rate is still 40 cents per $100 valuation, just like everyone else. That's what the city is going to receive. The primary difference between this and a mud district is this has an expiration on it. A mud district doesn't. It's not a taxing authority. This is just levying a special assessment.
Do I have a motion?
On the first page of the minutes and certification for ordinance, Miss Easley's name has been left off of that.
We do have an updated one. Nikki saw that. This came from Coach Rose, who's the...
Okay, thank you.
So this information all came from Coach Rose, who is managing the bid for the open shops. You know, we look at it, we review it, and bring it to you guys. But we have that. She sent this to me just before Miss Easley was appointed to council. So.
Okay.
Casey, can I answer any questions for you? You look like you can answer.
No, I'm good, I just reading.
I'll make a motion to adopt the ordinance as presented.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
I second.
Motion by Carol, second by Cheryl. This motion is debatable, amendable, requires majority vote. All in favor of approving the ordinance as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say no. And the motion carries 5-0. Departmental reports. I think we're going to take these one by one tonight. We kind of missed one last week. So City Administrator's report.
Mayor and Council, thank you for your patience and letting me give this to you. You've got it at your seat tonight. The big update for you will be on the City Administrator search. SQR should be profile and the advertisement either this afternoon or tomorrow. I didn't have an email, just a little bit ago. Nikki said we did get that. Is that?
Just about before 5.
Okay. So we did get that. So that posting went live. It will be live through the 29th. And again, as the representative told us, we're going to be receiving updates and certainly we're going to pass those along to you guys. The big item for us on staff is still the budget preparation. I think we're all ready to tie it off and get done with it and move on to get those things done. And I'll be happy to answer your thoughts or...
I wondered about the initial conversations. We were talking to our consultant about this search. It seemed like there was kind of a period in between the start of the advertise up until maybe a week before the 23rd or whatever that date was that is now the 23rd, that maybe the council and I could get a preview, whether it was top 10, whether it was 15, whatever it landed.
Yeah, so it went, the posting went up today, and I think if I recall, she said about halfway through, she normally will give us a, you know, just kind of a count of where we're at. You know, she doesn't give us the names at that point of just, you know, kind of the wide net. What she does is get it down to kind of, you know, like you said, about the top 10 or so.
Okay.
And she's still going to refine that down to give us, you know, kind of her, you know, kind of final list or short list, but you guys will be updated just as soon as we get it.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions? Item number 11, utility report.
I'll continue with this one. This one is, you know, really dealing with the front office and until not really the public works side or the operation side. The utilities brought in just under $240,000 this month. Certainly a lot of that is irrigation. If anybody else is water and sees a water bill, it hurts right now. Skip down to the next page, you'll see there we issued just under 100 building-related permits this month, just over 1,000 active utility accounts, and water usage looks to be about the same in terms of the city accounts there. You know, there's not a whole lot of change. I know, again, you know, you see just kind of the peak of summer and a drought, so you know, a lot of the irrigation accounts for us are up. And we have to answer Questions?
Just curious about 120 plus days arrears, that 39 seems higher than normal?
The number caught my eye too.
Is that about-
I'll definitely find out and get an answer to you.
Yeah, it just seemed a little higher than normal. Any other questions? Item number 12, sales tax report.
All right, members of the council, I'm going to hit the high points on this. This is me again. The top line numbers are, I can get to it, I'm on page 84 of your packet. The top line numbers is year over year in August, we are about $50,000 up. In terms of sales tax, total sales tax for the month, and again, this is a quarterly month. Just as a reminder, sales tax is reported 2 months behind, so we're looking at June payments. So August of this year, $506,000. That you see just the next line item down. We are just about $3,000 off of hitting our annual budget for sales tax, so we've collected 99% of our sales tax in a couple of months ago. If you have any questions on that, I'll be glad to, and I'll take an opportunity just to ask you guys. So different councils have done it different ways. If you guys are interested in a confidential sales tax report,
I would still like to get them.
Yes.
you guys just have to be very, very careful with that data. I can't overstress that.
Okay.
You know, I'll be I'm happy to send that out to you. Just, you know, and what makes it confidential is you've got the actual sales tax dollars pegged to the business. It's very easy to get, you know, for the public to get too far into someone's books, just by doing the math backwards on the sales tax. I'll be glad to send that out to you.
Yes.
Sure.
I want that.
Absolutely.
You know, there's a number of ways you can make your monthly tax mean go up. The way that it's happening right now may not be very pleasant because everything costs more.
Yes.
With that said, I have made the point and will reiterate that we can expect more modest gains, but we're still gaining. But when you're in this type of economy, the big ticket items are typically out. And so that explains why we're not going to probably hit what we hit last year, but we're still doing okay.
You know, just adding to your thought that I skipped over on the first page, there's about 300 more sales tax filers in the city than there were a year ago at this time. Certainly, many of those are online sales, but there are new brick and mortar stores here in town that they're adding to the sales tax.
Going back to an earlier Summit Park, we had months ago meeting and they were having trouble filling. Do you happen to know whether that's picked up a little bit due to more coverage or not? Because
don't know that for sure. I felt like, you know, again, I know the meeting that you're talking about. I wasn't at that meeting out there with the EDC on that, but you know, as far as I know, they're, you know, not.
I know there's been two. It's been about 6 months. There's been 2 ads in there. But weren't they building another portion too?
So right under 1097, if you recall, you know, we approved an escrow agreement not long ago. Just out near 1097 at Buffalo Springs Drive, they did sell that parcel off to another entity that's building an office, sort of office warehouse space. You know, very similar to what they have there, but so there is activity out there. I know there's some talk as well. There's been a lot of talk about single-family residential, actually, on the, you know, perhaps on some of that, you know, but certainly on the properties around there, we had, you know, several folks, you know, from the landowners that own land around there looking at single-family. If you guys recall, Porter Farms,
yeah,
it was just to the north of this. So, but I know there's activity up there. It's just a matter of getting it all to come together at the right time.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Item number 13, Finance and Quarterly Investment Report.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Going over the financial report, some of the highlights there. Page number 2, which is page 92 on your report. Your operating fund, you're just a little under the 6-month reserve, but not too far down from there. Your MEDC, over 2 years worth of reserve, and then your utility fund, just over a year's worth of reserve. Next few pages, from 93 to 96, are your List of disbursements and receipts for the month of July 2022. Heading over to page 97 of your report is your budget. Going through 10 months' work of your fiscal year, you have collected 85% of all revenues for the fiscal year. For the month of August, just want to point out your sales tax numbers. You received just over $500,000. It was like $506,000, if I'm not mistaken. So 3/4 of it in your general fund, the other quarter of it going to your BDC. And for expenditures for this year, 10 months completed, 82%. So just a little over. So still in the surplus, a little over $150,000. Before I jump into the other items, you have your quarterly investment report as well too. This is just a summarization of all your CDs, money markets, and pledged securities for the quarter of April 1st through June 30th. And then the other couple items I have, your debt service payments coming up, which is on the last page of your financial report, will be paid this week on Friday. So I'll be taking those letters over to the bank and we'll get those taken care of. And then also just a quick heads up, I will not be at your September 27th meeting. I'm actually going to prepare your report a week early so that way you have it. If there's any questions during that time, I'll make sure that I'm there to answer them. So just wanted to get a heads up on that.
Okay. Any questions? Thank you, Anthony, for a fine job you do. Item number 14, Police Department. Steve?
Good evening, Mayor, Council. You got the report in front of you. If you have any questions, I also have code enforcement report in there. If you've got any questions there, I have a code enforcement officer here and answer those questions.
A little extra heavy on the DWI this time?
Yes, sir. A lot of drunk from. But you see a couple of our officers were given awards by MAG for being on top of those, so. Yeah. I want to thank the chief for that. I know I mentioned about a traffic study on MLK, and I know the next day it was out there, so we want to appreciate that. There's a lot of people going up MLK also. Yeah. 20-something thousand people traveling. It's a lot. I'm more than out there.
And I met with a man just outside of our city limits who wishes they saw the police more.
Right.
It just never stops, Chief.
Not just one day.
Oh.
No, not just one day. Any other questions?
Anyone?
Anything on code enforcement?
Code, anything? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 15, court report.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. You have the court report in front of you. The collections for July 2022 were 126 for citations, and the revenue was $25,169.19. Are there any questions for the municipal court? Thank you.
Thank you. Public Works, item 16.
Mayor and Council, got the report in front of you. The only thing that I want to hit on is just to update you, to let you know that the Symington House, Arnold Symington House, has been completed on the repairs and painting. Took a while to get that done, but it was completed, and the contractor did a good job on it, and we have a full 5-year warranty through them, so anything happens over the next 5 years, it's covered. They did a good enough job that we let them do the roofing jobs at Cedar Break and Homecoming also. We recovered the restrooms and the pavilion roofs there that were starting to look pretty bad. So that's the only real highlight I have. If y'all have any questions, I'd be happy to answer any.
Not that it's a big deal at all, but future Water Well 4, will it get named Water Well 4 and there always will not be a Water Well 1 on the report?
Well, Water Well 1 did exist at one time, but it's
Well, I know.
commission, so yeah, it will be Water Well 4.
It'll be 4?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. Item 17, utility operations.
evening, Mayor and Council. Howard Wilhite with H2O Innovation. Introduced ourselves last time. I also have Preston Minter also with H2O Innovation here tonight. Turn back behind our cover page. You'll see we did have a couple of district alerts. Water well 4 had a well failure. We found out it was tied into an alarm. So with well 3, so when it well 3 tripped, it actually called out as well 4. We got that taken care of, and then well 3 also tripped at the overload on another day. Water plant 3, the new hydrant pressure tank, it was waterlogged. We got it's brand new, so we got the contractor out there. He did a couple of repairs. We aired it up, and it's up and operational. And the last item that we have on there is lift station number 3 had a high wet well level, and when we went out there, we found out that the pumps were all clogged with debris, so we had those pulled and cleaned. On the next page, on the wastewater treatment plant information, you can see the flow information, and currently your plant's at 40% of its permitted capacity, which is a good spot to be in. The next page is your discharge limitations for your wastewater plant, and everything was compliant with the wastewater plant. Next page is your water system report, and you'll see you pumped a total of 20,039,000 gallons, and we recovered 96% accountability, so that's pretty awesome. And you have 1,172 connections. And the next 2 pages are just some historical information, and that's all I have unless you have any questions.
Anybody? Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Item number 18, engineers report.
Good evening, everyone. Going through our report, starting at 140 of your packets. The water plant number 3 improvements project. That project is substantially complete. Contractors addressing a bunch of items on it. The generator project through the GLO, again, we're just holding pattern. Generators are hard to get a hold of, so hopefully in the next few weeks they'll start moving on site with some preliminary work. Moving over to page 2, your Martin Luther King and MLK project for the ditch grade and sewer rehab. You receive pay estimate number 1, the amount of $55,948.50. That project is about 12% complete by value as of the date of that pay estimate. A couple pictures are below. You can see the culvert replacement, the driveway work that was done, and then the second figure is them actually installing one of those liners. There's been a little bit of a lull. They're waiting on materials as of this afternoon. They expect materials back in next week to pick back up and finish off the project. Your sanitary sewer cleaning and televising project. Last week, the contractor completed all the work in the field. So now we're supposed to get all the videos this Friday to complete our review and recommendations. Your Klepper Sidewalks project, that contractor started mobilizing on site today. So he's starting to stage and will begin work here very shortly. Items 5, your 15-year infrastructure plan, we're wrapping up the analysis of the pumping. We got all the data in and the pump, so we've run a couple scenarios, so we'll have that to present to y'all here in the next month or so. The water line enforcement project on Old Plantersville for the Redbird Meadows development is underway. Same with McGowan Street, water line replacement. We received that survey work back on Friday from the contractor. So we provided that to the engineer for the MEDC who's doing the downtown improvements. So they have it, we're reviewing it, putting together a combined list of comments to get all the data we need from the survey that is going on as we speak. That's the same thing with the downtown master plan for drainage. Again, that survey work was needed to complete that. So now we've received that item.
At this point, are you happy with the Gunda co-communication?
So far, right now, it's just been a holding pattern, really, waiting on the survey work. And once we get that, now we have that in, there's going to be a lot more back and forth to keep that moving forward. But everyone's kind of just waiting to get the baseline information. Moving on to the sanitary sewer rehab project, that is wrapping up for bid, or we'll be getting ready to bid that project out. And then lift station number 8 repairs. I had a meeting this morning with Precinct 1 to discuss the repairs around the bridge and the erosion underneath. So they met with them, they were producing the plans, we went through the scope. They didn't have a definitive timeline yet, but they're proceeding. And then we also talked about just options in the scope to make sure that the final, what gets done with the force main relocation is not affected by their work. So had a good meeting with them this morning, so we'll be kind of wrapping that up, and we're getting a couple of different pricing from contractors on that. Next section is all about developments in the city. You can see there's a lot of plan reviews that are ongoing. Kind of hit the highlights. Shipley's, we approved their plans back last week for their new store location over by C.B. Stewart in 105. Montgomery Summit Business Park, as we were just talking about, in the new expansion toward the front of 1097. We're gone back and forth on some plan review comments with them. We received revised drawings last week. And then Pulte, the 80-acre Maybury tract, they funded their escrow agreement, so we are finishing up the review of their drainage study on that site.
Mr. HEB has not touched base with us in a while?
No.
Okay, just verifying.
No, and that's kind of their MO is they come in and they're ready to go. So
It's been that way, but given their building in Willis and they're building in 1488 or something,
They
I
have
know
4 on 1488.
they'll have 4 of them on 1488, I think.
We'll reach out again. It's, always we're just touching base to see if they have a timeline, but they don't, HB does not give timelines. Plat reviews are listed. The ongoing general activities section on page 4, all your TxDOT related work. Biggest one there is the delays due to materials on the access management project. So everything down the center of 105 from here to Conroe. Contractor's been delayed getting concrete. So
let me go ahead and ask the question. We know you don't work for TxDOT, but and I get these letters and I get frustration, and we're frustrated, and we were really at a fever pitch when school started because you had those young drivers, they didn't know where to go. Is it just a habit to just put a bunch of barrels out, and you might be 6 months from doing anything? Isn't that what we're seeing?
Yeah, the barrels have been up a lot. I mean, there was, that flurry of activity, and then it stopped. And that was, the reasons we were given, it was, I think community impact report the same as it was concrete. So they were only able to get deliveries 3 days a week for concrete, so it delayed.
And as you might imagine, that's not going anywhere because, okay, until you get ready to get concrete, put the barrels out.
Right.
I mean, it is what it is. Not just.
You guys have noticed the setting sand going in there, work to the UNDC to try to get a change order to fill the paper, or to fill those spaces in the medians with papers, as opposed to just flat concrete, and it looks like that is actually happening. So,
Oh, good.
Absolutely. That's the
That'll
good
get
news.
it out of there quicker.
That's the good news.
Because we don't have to wait for concrete.
That's it. Okay, thank you.
Chris, on your report, what about Discount Tire? They not on?
We approved their plans probably at least a month ago that we approved. Last I heard is they were just getting started with the building code review. They had waited, or fire marshal, I can't remember.
I think they're waiting on fire marshal. I don't think we've seen the plans in.
Yeah, no, from the civil side, they've been approved for at least a month.
And just to verify, when they get going, will they help with the pass-through from the Kroger Blue Wave area
Yes.
back to Buffalo?
Yeah, so when we asked them about that, they were expecting to have that complete in October, was what they told us a few months ago. So they'll do that driveway connection, and then the pads that run on the park.
Get that and a light and a roundabout, we'll be in business.
Right. Other TxDOT items, again, there's a lot of ongoing. The Imageway intersection improvements regarding just the timing. We were told that they're working on that. I have not received confirmation that it's done, but by shaking your head, it's probably.
The neighborhood, it's unclear. Sometimes it seems to work, sometimes it doesn't.
Then your last two items, or last couple items, your emergency preparedness plan, that's in with the state along with every other public entity, our public water system, so it will be a bit before we get comments. And then flagship storm sewer inspection, the contractor finished that up this afternoon. And we'll be getting those videos on Friday as well to be able to complete that analysis and come back to y'all with a detailed recommendation for repairs of the storm sewer along Flagship. Then attached to our report, you'll see a copy of the pay estimate and a copy of your updated kind of developments map of where the ongoing projects are located. And that's all I have. See any
I
questions?
know you weren't there last night, but Catherine was, so I'll just pass it on that I'd get text message verification from Commissioner Robert Walker of his commitment to up to $250,000 for the solution to Buffalo Springs and Lone Star Parkway, whatever that solution is, and it will be in his fiscal budget. And so whenever we get spunky, let's go.
I agree. Sounds good. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Executive session, we have nothing in executive session. Okay. All right. Council inquiry. Council have anything? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion that we adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, and do I have a second?
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And we are adjourned at 7:15.